All right, guys, so Israel and the U.S. are currently signaling, we're about to unleash hell on your ass, bro. We're about to ramp up the genocide 12-fold. This is what the U.S. and Israel are signaling. And they argue, hey, man, Hamas came out and said, we're not going to release any more hostages. And so, therefore, they are violating the deal. And we are well within our rights to just go to town now. This is the argument that they're making. This is what Netanyahu's saying. This is what the Israeli government's saying. And Trump is backing them up completely. Completely. Okay. Now, what's the reality of the situation? Of course, as is always the case, guess who really had been violating the deal? What Hamas is saying now, we're not going to release the hostages. The reason they're saying that is because Israel is perpetually violating the deal. And this is the only leverage that Hamas has. Okay, if you guys aren't going to abide by the deal, then we're not going to abide by the deal. So really, it's Israel that started this. All right, but here we go. Let me walk you through it. So here's Israel's violation of the agreements in Gaza. Ready? Agreed upon, 12,000 aid trucks being let in. Only 8,500 trucks have been let in. 50 fuel trucks per day. Only 15 fuel trucks per day were let in. 60,000 mobile homes. No mobile homes. 200,000 tents. Only 20,000 tents. So the violations, a shortfall of 3,500 aid trucks, a shortfall of 35 fuel trucks per day, complete absence of mobile houses, and a shortfall of 180,000 tents. Now, by the way, this graphic I pulled up for you here is just as it pertains to specific parts of the agreement. But let's not forget, there's also been plenty of examples of Israel continuing to kill Palestinians and bomb Palestinians in what's supposed to be a ceasefire, right? But they're also doing it in Lebanon. They displaced 40,000 people in Lebanon. There's supposed to be a ceasefire there too, right? So this is what they do. And there's this old video of Chomsky. I tweeted it yesterday if you want to go take a look at it. But this was back in 2005. And Chomsky's literally saying the same thing. That, yeah, every time that there's, some fighting, they make a deal. Israel violates it routinely. And then eventually Hamas is like, well, all right, if you're going to fucking keep violating it, we're not going to be the suckers here. We abide by our part and you don't abide by your part, right? So could not have been more clear. Israel repeatedly violated the deal, and Hamas is getting the blame. Netanyahu and the Israeli government are openly saying, we're going to go right back to killing all of you. And now Trump comes out, and what does he say? Ready? Trump now says that unless Hamas release all remaining hostages by Saturday at noon, Israel may resume the war and, quote, let all hell break out. Looks like he's intentionally blowing up the ceasefire framework shortly after transferring 2,000-pound bombs to Netanyahu, and now there are no restrictions on those bombs. What I didn't know is under Biden, he temporarily froze those bombs going to them, but then he allowed them to go again. But what I didn't know is there was a moratorium on them using them. Trump came in and said, get rid of that. You can use whatever the fuck you want. Even though these bombs are notorious for killing massive numbers of civilians, the U.S. didn't even use them in Iraq because we were like, holy shit, this kills too many civilians. Now he's like, God bless Israel. You do whatever the fuck you want to do. You kill as many civilians as you want. And so this is insane. This is insane. Israel violates the deal. Hamas is like, okay, we're not going to release the remaining hostages because you violated the deal. Almost all of Western media says Hamas violated the deal. Netanyahu says Hamas violated the deal. Trump says Hamas violated the deal. So now all hell's going to break loose. What did I tell you guys from the beginning? This was always a fake ceasefire. Always. It was about PR. It was about marketing. It was about giving Trump a fake win as the status quo continued. That's always what it's been about. I mean, the idea that, first of all, Netanyahu and Trump met at Mar-a-Lago before the election. You think they didn't have some conversations? You think it wasn't a Reagan-style situation where, remember when Reagan told Iran, don't release the hostages under Carter. Wait for me to get in there and then do it, and I'll get the credit. They had a backdoor deal with the Iranian government when they were holding American hostages, and they said, keep the hostages longer because I want to look like the hero. You think Netanyahu and Trump didn't make some sort of a deal? And then also, there were violations of the deal, like, immediately when it was put into place, and everybody just fucking ignored them. I was pulling my hair out, like, why is everybody ignoring that there's these violations happening? And now, Trump's plan is, we're going to increase the genocide. And remember, Trump announced the ethnic cleansing plan the other day, so more on that. So, King Abdullah of Jordan came to the White House, and man, Trump really is incredible, right? Because there's this incredibly dire situation. Genocide on the ground in Gaza, Israel committing it, and the way Trump talks about these life and death matters is like somebody needs to study his sociopathic brain. This is so out there. He's sitting next to Jordan. Now he's trying to twist the arm of both Jordan and Egypt and say, you guys are going to take Palestinian refugees. First of all, there's already a whole bunch of Palestinian refugees in those places. But second of all, he's saying, hey, you need to aid and abet Israel in their genocide and ethnic cleansing. That's what he's saying. And now he's threatening them, I'll cut off whatever funding we give you, I'm going to cut off all of it unless you aid and abet Israel in their genocide and ethnic cleansing. So he's sitting next to the King of Jordan, and listen to what he says.
You've said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy.
Imagine that was said about literally anywhere else on the planet. Yeah, well, you thought I said I was going to buy Gaza. I'm not going to buy Gaza. We don't have to give anything to anybody. We're just going to take it. Oh my God. Oh my God. And this, to be fair, he does kind of say this about Panama. We're going to take it back. We're going to take it back. Says this about Greenland and Denmark. I guess with Greenland and Denmark, he kind of does say buy more often than he says we're just going to take it. But guys, again, he is rolling back the clock to 1800s style imperialism and colonialism. Like, there is no more cover story about freedom and democracy and human rights, and we're upholding international law, and we're the world police, and we just want what's best for everybody. Now it's like, fuck the cover story. We're just going to steal it. We're going to steal that piece of land that's not ours. Imagine any other country said that. If China was like, we're going to take Alaska, and we don't need to buy, we could just take it, and we're going to develop it. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. Oh my God. What would the reaction be? Iran does some territorial expansion. We're just going to take this. What would our reaction be? Oh my God, a rogue regime. We need to do regime change. These people are insane actors on the international stage. Nobody can trust them, bro. But him casually sitting next to the King of Jordan. We're just going to take Gaza. We're just going to take it. No concern whatsoever. You want to talk about full dehumanization. That's what it is for Palestinians. Palestinians are dehumanized in the same way that Jews were dehumanized under Nazi occupation during World War II. It's the same fucking thing. They treat them like mosquitoes. Swat them away. I'm just going to take it.
We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to...
This is the thing he does. Try to put a smiley face, smiley, on genocide and ethnic cleansing. Smile. We're going to cherish it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to cherish it. It's going to be great.
Get it going eventually where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East.
A lot of jobs are going to be... Bruh. How many schools has Netanyahu bombed? How many hospitals has he bombed? How many aid organizations has he bombed? How many children got sniped in the face? How many concentration camps did they create? How much torture has been doled out? How much starvation is going on? And you're fucking talking about us taking it over and providing jobs? Tim Dillon, the comedian, was just doing a bit on this the other day. He's like, yeah, look, bottom line is we're going to make some strip malls, and Hamas, you're going to be working at P.F. Chang's. That's the bottom line. You better get used to it. There's going to be a Baskin Robbins on the corner. You're going to work there. You're going to work at the P.F. Chang's. You're going to be a waiter. Like, this is literally what he's saying, unironically. Going to create jobs, but wait for it, because he's actually not saying, oh, Palestinians are going to still be there when all this is said and done. He's literally open about, no, they can't come back. What?
It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it could be a diamond. It could be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East. And you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, the way it is right now, every 10 years, you're going to have the same thing happening. I've watched it so long, all the death and destruction of Gaza.
But notice how he talks about it. This is a classic imperialist trick. Notice how he talks about the victims of imperialism and colonialism. He talks about their demise like it's some sort of natural disaster. Right? Like, oh, they got hit by a tsunami or an earthquake happened or something bad happened that's totally out of everybody's control. No. Your buddy, Benjamin Netanyahu, with U.S. money and U.S. weapons, committed a genocide, and now you're doing an ethnic cleansing. You are responsible for that. Biden is responsible for that. Netanyahu is responsible for that. They would never ever... It's passive voice. Right? Whenever violence is done to us and our allies and people we humanize, they're horrific, disgusting, savage, brutal terrorism where people were deliberately targeted by barbarians. When it's us doing it to others, it's been a lot of bad stuff happening. A lot of death and destruction, not caused by anyone in particular.
The civilization's been wiped out in Gaza. No, it's going to be a tremendous thing. It's fronting on the sea. It's going to be a great economic...
He's literally talking about the beachfront property, dog. He's literally talking about, bro, we can make a mean casino in this bitch. Oh, my God.
Development job is going to put people to work, a lot of people to work, and those people are all going to be from the Middle East.
And just to follow up with one on that for King Abdullah, can you clarify again, sir, how do you feel about the U.S. taking Gaza, as the president said?
Well, again, this is something that we, as Arabs, will be coming to the United States with something that we're going to talk about later to discuss all these options.
And Mr. President, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority.
You're going to take Gaza under what authority? He says under the U.S. authority. He doesn't even know how to play the game, bro. He doesn't even know how, whatever, international law, UN charter, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're going to steal it. We're going to steal it. Does anybody have a problem with that? Does anybody have a problem with that?
You seek to personally develop property in Gaza after this happens?
No, I've had a great career in real estate.
Mr. President, your team.
When you've done what I've done in the last number of years, including the 4 years that we should have been doing something else, frankly, because people see that now.
So he's like, bro, I won't have any investments over there. How about your son-in-law, Jared, who came up with the idea of stealing Gaza and building hotels on the beach? How about him? He's got a $2 billion deal with Saudi Arabia. He's probably got multi-million-dollar deals with Israel. How about him? Oh, my God.
Sure. But when you've done what I've done, you can just do more good for people when you're president. When you're president, we can do things.
Talking about doing good for people in a press conference where he's casually like, finish the genocide and complete the ethnic cleansing, and then we're going to take the land. We're going to take the land. We're going to illegally steal it. We're going to illegally steal it, but you can do great things for people.
This is all things that should have been done, but actually things that shouldn't have had to be done. Gaza, absolutely, it would have been so great if the Biden administration would have started this. But actually,
But the Biden administration would have started what? He's literally saying they should have done the genocide faster, and we should have been talking about hotels a year ago, bro. What is wrong? Would you want them to nuke Gaza? They basically did more than nuking Gaza over the course of a little over a year. He's like, should have done it faster. Do it faster. We could have had the hotels, could have had the casinos. It would have been beautiful.
In fairness to them, it was, they should have never let it happen. It did happen. And because of the fact that they let this happen, this catastrophe of October 7th, something like this becomes practical and very real.
So the atrocities committed on October 7th were terrible, horrible, bad. Having over a year of October 7ths every day for the people of Palestine, some things happened. There was some destruction. There's some more. It looks kind of bad over there, but don't worry. We'll take the land. We'll take the land. All right, I got more. Ready? This says it all. He gives the game away. This is what this guy does.
We'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2, but we'll build safe communities a little bit away from where they are, where all of this danger is.
So this is him saying, we're going to shove all the Palestinians into Egypt or Jordan. We'll build safe communities for them. Here we go.
I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?
No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them, because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable.
So let's be clear. He's not just talking about, you had the Nakba in the late 1940s and all this horrible stuff happened, and he's not saying, oh, those Palestinians can't return. What he's saying is, we are going to kick the ones off the land that are still there now, and then they can't return. But don't worry, they'll be really happy wherever we happen to build them a fucking tent city in Jordan or Egypt or wherever. Look, does nothing matter anymore? This is my question for you guys. We may as well just, if this is going to continue, if stuff like this is going to continue, if Netanyahu's not going to be arrested, if this asshole is not going to be arrested, you may as well just get rid of the UN completely, right? Just dismantle it. Let's stop pretending. It's the League of Nations. It is toothless. It is useless. If the world's just going to sit back and watch this, and the fact of the matter is, what would an appropriate response be? Literally the entire world ganging up on the U.S. and sanctioning the U.S. and making us realize, hey, you might have the biggest military in the world, but you don't have all the power in the world. You want to fight a war against literally every planet on Earth that's realizing you're a rogue nation, openly and casually doing genocide and ethnic cleansing? Jesus Christ. Holy shit. All right, more. So here's Ryan Grimm explaining a little bit about the situation with Jordan and Egypt and how Trump is effectively trying to twist their arms.
So Donald Trump is now saying that if Egypt and Jordan continue to refuse to take in
the refugees from Gaza that he plans to boot out of there, he is going to strip them of American aid. Here's something people probably intuitively understand, but if not, I just wanted to underline it for people. We do not give Egypt and Jordan aid because we are a charitable country. We give them aid to prop up what are their military dictatorships and to pay them not to attack Israel. If we withdraw our aid, our military support for Egypt and Jordan, and we force them each to take on another 800 or 900,000 Palestinians, both of those countries will collapse. And whatever is constituted in their place will abrogate whatever deals they have with Israel. So Israel should probably be careful what it wishes for here.
Yeah, and, not only that, this is literally like Chinese hegemony speedrun. Like, it's that meme that you see sometimes online, like, President Xi, do nothing, win. Because it's just total self-destruction on the part of the U.S. I mean, you are alienating and isolating every single country that, to one extent or another, is an ally. I mean, you're fucking going after Canada and Mexico. What the fuck is wrong with you? So, you want to puff up the egos of the Putins and the Kim Jong-uns and those types of people and sing their praises. Really strong guy, really smart guys. That's what he says about enemy nations to the U.S. But when it's our allies, we're going to tariff them, and then we're going to raise those tariffs even more. We're going to cut off whatever funding. We're going to make sure, hey, you're going to accept these Palestinians, right? It's like this. It's like the administration is reading from a manual of how not to ever lead anything. Right? I said it before. He's not qualified to run a fucking Arby's, never mind a country. This is insane. And when you're at this level where you are casually, nonchalantly, in a blasé fashion talking about genocide and ethnic cleansing and, acting like this is normal and this is okay, bro, the chickens are going to come home to roost at some point, bro. If I were you, I'd be investing in Chinese currency ASAP because this cannot hold. This cannot, the breakneck pace they're going at, destroying every U.S. government institution, the regulatory state, the administrative state, destroying all of our relationships around the world, and the rampant, disgusting warmongering that has now surpassed the neocons, where he's saying, yeah, we're going to go back to 1800-style imperialism and colonialism. This is not sustainable. I hope everybody understands that. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.